Hi, I'm Leon, and today I will explain to you everything you need to know about the IMA NAS server. I will first cover a few terms very quickly, and then I show you how to download and use the NYU VPN. I will download Cyberduck with you and set up a bookmark in Cyberduck to access your space on the server. And then I show you how to upload files, aka your websites, to that server and how to find them or visit them in your browser. First, I want to quickly explain in very simple terms three things. One, what's a server? The internet is a lot of computers that are all linked, and websites that you visit every day are stored on some of these computers. Except those computers normally don't look like your own computer because you want to sometimes switch your computer off. And that would mean that a website that is stored on this computer would be offline. So a server is a computer that is connected to the internet, that's always on and always connected, and therefore very well suited to host a website that other people want to visit. The NAS server is a server on which we can put websites and other people can visit those websites, with the only distinction that the NAS server is only accessible while on the NYU network. That means while you are connected via Wi-Fi, for example, to the NYU network. Now, the last thing is the VPN, or virtual private network, which will make a lot of sense now. That's a VPN is a way to access a network, for example, the NYU Wi-Fi network, remotely. And we need to use a VPN if we want to access the NAS server and we are not on campus, which this semester some of you might not be. So first of all, installing the VPN that NYU gives us, it's a very good VPN, is very well documented by NYU. So you can find it if you Google the terms NYU VPN. I found that it's definitely good to just follow their tutorial. So you end up on this website, Virtual Private Network VPN. Down here, I think this is most relevant to most people installing and using VPN on the Macintosh, installing and using VPN on the Windows, etc. There's one bit I want to highlight, that is NYU does not seem to have updated this tutorial fully yet. So you should follow this tutorial, but when it comes to entering one of these domains here, don't use these, use this one instead, vpn.shanghai.nyu.edu. Now I'm going to use a VPN. I'm going to switch my VPN on now so you can see how this looks. You will open the Cisco AnyConnect program that this tutorial guides you to download. And here you enter exactly the domain that I just said, vpn.shanghai.nyu.edu, and your NYU NetID and your password. You click accept, and we are connected. Meaning now we are remotely inside the NYU network and should be able to access the NAS server. That means we have downloaded and used the VPN. Next up is, how do we put files on that server? We do that with another program called Cyberduck, which we will download together at cyberduck.io. Cyberduck.io looks like this. This one seems like the right button. I have a Mac, so I click here. If you have a Windows, you want to click over here. Okay, after downloading it, we install it. It's already installed on a Mac. I drag this icon into my applications folder. On any other operating system, I believe you would do something similar. So I'll drag this into the applications folder just so it's there. And then I will open it right here. So this is an application that the only purpose of which is to help us transfer files onto any server that we're allowed to connect to. In our case, to the NAS server. Now we need to tell this application how to reach the NAS server, and you can follow my steps. I highly recommend to not just open a connection to the server, connect to the server, it's really what we want, right? But right from the start, we can actually make a bookmark. So if we're on this tab, we can add a new bookmark down here. Or in the menu bar up here, we can say bookmark, new bookmark. This will make it much easier in the future to access the NAS server. And by the way, I should add that on the NAS server, you can imagine it like just one big folder in which all of us, every one of you and I and the other instructors, we all have subfolders with our name. And in those subfolders is our playground, and this is where we put our files. So really what we're aiming for right now is access to our subfolder on the NAS in order for us to put our website there. So here I can define the bookmark. One thing I should have checked in the very beginning, before you even started this tutorial, is make sure you received an email that looks more or less like this. This is a screenshot from 2018. So the email might look a little bit different, but maybe not. It's coming from NYU Shanghai, I'm a NAS. Has this subject line. I'm saying this because maybe this helps you to find it. And in there, it would just say, welcome to I'm a NAS, your username, and give you a password. This we need. So if you have that email, you're good, and you will need the password in just a second. For now, in the bookmark creation window here, the protocol we want to choose is SFTP. So this is the protocol that this program uses to communicate with the server. The server is, I have another screenshot here with a fully filled out version of this. How do we do this ideally? Like that. So here's a screenshot. I hope we don't confuse this. Here's a screenshot. Here's where we make our new version. The server looks a little bit complicated here. Really, the server is just imanas.shanghai.nyu.edu. The username is your NetID. In my case, it's this. And the password, by the way, it fills out this automatically for me. This should be none for you, and I believe it is also just none for you. This password is the one that you find in your email from the NAS. After we have done this, don't worry, we don't need to save. It automatically saved that. So I just click cross. And now back in Cyberduck, in the bookmarks tab, you see a bookmark here, which you can double click. And again, this only works if you're either on the NYU network or on a VPN, on an NYU VPN. And here we are. You might see something slightly different. I'm actually not entirely sure what you will see. I imagine you either see nothing, which means you are in your folder that is an empty folder. You might also see home and homes. If you see home and homes, you can check that in your home, it says www. Now, everything we'll ever do in this class will only take place in home www. because of that, I can show you a quick trick that I like to do, which is I quickly disconnect from the server again. By the way, this view now is me being inside the server. I can put files here. I disconnect. Remember, home www is actually where we do things. So if you have the same view as this, where you see home, then I would recommend you right-click here and say Edit Bookmark. Then you can go to, and this step you don't have to do, but I like it because it's convenient. Click on More Options down here, and you can tell the bookmark to automatically take us to home www. Again, you don't need to save, you just click cross. Now, every time you click this, it will automatically bring us to that folder, which is the one that actually matters to us, because that's where we do things. And that's how you access the NAS server. So from now on, every time you open Cyberduck, you just go to Bookmarks and click your bookmark. Now, as I've said, everything we do happens in here. I highly recommend to have a good file structure in here. For example, we could make a new folder now and say week 1. Now we have this folder, and in here we could put a website that we were building in Communications Lab in week 1. So I have a website here. You might not notice quite yet, but a website is really just a folder with a bunch of files. So I'm gonna drag this website from my local finder, that these are files on my computer. This is not on my computer, this is on the server. So I'm dragging it from here inside this folder, and as you see, it uploads them to that server. So now these files from my local computer are now on the server that is at NYU and only accessible when on the NYU network or the VPN. Now, last step, upload files, find them in your browser. So to find our websites in the browser, we don't need to know much, but we do need to know, we need to be aware of the file structure on our section here. And I'm gonna show you why that is. Let's open a browser. Now, because I'm on the NYU network, I can actually access whatever is on the server. So this is how it will work. It always starts with imanas.shanghai.nyu.edu / this symbol, then your net ID, and a /. Now that leads directly to the www. But afterwards, we need to define where exactly within www is the file that we want to look at. So in our case, what we want to look at is this website, which is in week 1, Leon's website. So we say week 1 / Leon's website. This is my website. To give you one more example, I can maybe make another folder here called week 2. And this time I'm directly putting 2 files in there, one called index.html and one called recipes.html. You can see I kept them open here. These are just 2 text files with HTML code. Index.html looks like this, recipes.html looks like that. I'm going to drag them onto the server into week 2. And now I would like to ask you how to find them, but you cannot answer me. So I'm just waiting 2 seconds and then I will tell you the solution. You find them by going to this part first. Now we are here. From here, we want to go inside here. We want to do that, right? What I just did, this. So we need to say week 2. And now, if I hit enter now, it will automatically open the index.html file. That is default browser behavior. Instead, we could also say index.html file, and the same would happen. To access the recipes, we need to say recipes.html. And this is it. To disconnect, you can click disconnect up here. I guess that's the best thing to do. Sometimes you might accidentally just close the window, which is fine too. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can email me or ask any other Communications Lab instructor, any fellow in the studio, or any Communications Lab learning assistant, or generally just anyone is happy to help. Okay, bye-bye.